welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I'm your host, Freeway, and I'm here with my co-host, Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
And today we have a special guest with us, my friend Dominique Roberts. He's one of the people who I met through Yu-Gi-Oh! And you know how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. If you've played the game, you've made friends with people who you might only see on Facebook or only see at Yu-Gi-Oh! Events, and you just kind of have that bond, right? Like you just kind of naturally bond with somebody that you don't get to see often, maybe a couple times a year, but that bond just means so much. You guys kind of see each other. So me and Dom, we kind of just have like this connection through Facebook and through Yu-Gi-Oh! That, you know, made us want to start doing some podcast episodes together. So I figured I'd have him on here to do a kind of an IMNerd food series, just like a little segment within the IMNerd podcast where we nerd out about food topics. And Dom also, looking at his Facebook, likes a lot of different types of foods, and I figured why not have him on for this. So Dom, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Dominique Roberts, like you said, friend of Fraser's through Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty much, and a representative for the fat community.
Yes,
really on here.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you did.
Putting on for the big boys, like we really out here today.
Yes,
this is our time.
Because how could you have a food podcast, right? How could you have an episode about food and not have a big boy on, right? Like, how could you do that?
Never. Absolutely not. Wouldn't happen.
I'm glad to have you on, man. So this is our first, of this series or whatever you want to call it, this first of this segment. And this one is going to specifically be about candy and like candy bars, chocolate, that type of thing. And I have a crazy long list of all these different candies and all types of shit. So I think that the inspiration for this was when I think about being young and playing video games, playing with my friends, nerding out, you always think about the snacks too. Like we all love going to Wawa around here if you live in the Philadelphia area or like in our area in general. Some people have Sheets, some people have, what is it called, Publix, stuff like that. And you just load up on a fucking bunch of snacks, like, whatever you can get. Crunch.
I just quick
M&Ms.
side note on Sheets real quick.
Go ahead.
People that go to Sheets are so pretentious because like if you go to people that go to Sheets are always like, well, did you know Sheets is just infinitely better than Wawa? It's the best place on the planet. If you can't get it at Sheets, it's not real.
You know what doesn't make it any better though is that every year there's like a ranking between all of those types of stores, right? Those gas station type of stores where you just kind of do for a rest stop, and Wawa, Sheets, Publix, all of them get ranked in that system. And so I know at one point Wawa was number one for a little while, but then Sheets overtook it again, and they go back and forth. So that kind of makes people feel like they have to represent for their store, even though that
you're like a fucking football team. Like relax, it's a gas station.
People do go hard about it. But yeah, those places, I kind of go there. So one of the things that I really love, I'll just start off with one of my absolute favorite candies is chocolate. So I love chocolate more than I love just standard candy. And Reese's Sticks for me are like tier 0, right? I'm just going to that is immediately honestly, I just have to say it. That's probably my favorite fucking candy in the world. Like Reese's Sticks specifically are so broken and you can only get them at certain places.
I thought that Reese's Sticks had went extinct, and then because I thought they were insane, and then I saw them at a gas station once, and ever since then, it's been ridiculous. That candy is insane.
It's so good. Like
I do feel like you can only get it at like gas station type spots like Wawa or Sheets. Like,
yes.
I've never seen it in a supermarket. Like you can't go to a supermarket. At least me, I've never seen Reese's Sticks in a supermarket.
Yeah, I don't think that they do sell them in most supermarkets because around me, now that you mention it, I don't think Reese's Sticks are just on the shelf at a supermarket. You usually see like the assorted bags of candy or just a big bag of Reese's because Reese's cups are the standard. And that, don't get me wrong, Reese's in general, I think is probably the tier 0 or one of
tier 0 for me. Pretty much all the Reese's Sticks, Reese's Pieces. I almost said Reese's Pieces. I know people get on your ass for that.
I like Reese's Pieces. I like saying that. I say that.
But Reese's Pieces, Reese's Cups, Reese's Sticks. I like the Fast Breaks.
Yeah, Fast Break is pretty good too.
So I like
you fuck with Reese's heavy, right, Dom?
Yeah. Especially like the Reese's Sticks, seasonal Reese's, like a Reese's Christmas tree, Halloween egg.
Oh yeah. Those are so fun. They feel good.
So what happens to me often is, especially around Halloween, I'll get a ton of candy because it goes on, it's discounted after the holiday or after Valentine's Day. And the bag of the little Reese's cups, the ones where you have to take them out of a little aluminum foil thing.
Yeah. They'll be like red and green and silver.
Those are so dangerous to me because I can't stop eating them for some reason. Like if I get a big bag of it.
Because it's like a bag of chips.
It is. And you just keep, and the wrappers end up everywhere, right? Like they just fucking end up all over the place.
I just wrap them into each other. Like I just try to wrap the wrappers into each other and make a big ass foil ball.
You're better than me. I've eaten myself into a stomach ache before because of the bag of Reese's, like the mini Reese cups. If you guys know what I'm talking about,
It's
they're
something
so good.
about like mini Halloween candy. I don't know what, but like if you ever gotten like a mini Snickers on Halloween,
Yo,
and you just you start eating it and you just don't chew, right? I know it sounds weird. That sounds very, very weird.
I know
But
what
you
you
just
mean.
like you just don't chew it until it like disintegrates, and then you get like every part of the Snickers. You can't do that with a
Yes.
regular Snickers.
I love it. It's so good. I was gonna say in general, mini chocolates are way like okay. So the little tiny Kit Kats, right? Like when you just get one bar, it'll be like one bar, and it's also smaller than a normal Kit Kat's length.
Mm-hmm.
But those I can just unwrap those and throw it back. Pause. I just love. I guess like a lot of the things I like are phallic for some. Like I think about Snickers, Reese sticks, paydays.
I went out of my way just now to not say put the Snickers in my mouth. Like I went out of my way.
You did. And I caught it. I caught the vibes. But look, people make fun of people who eat hot dogs and shit like that. Honestly, guys, you gotta get over it. I love Snickers. I eat Snickers. My one friend, we were on Facebook talking about people eating Snickers raw, or like taking the whole wrapper off and just eating.
Like, and their hands get all fucking covered in chocolate and shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong?
I was like, who eats a Snickers raw? Like, I've never ate a raw Snickers in my life. Like, I never took the entire wrapper off of Snickers and started eating it. I always keep some of the wrapper on. Like, you got to save some of your dignity when you're eating a Snickers. You can't just down the whole thing like that.
Especially now that I'm not a child. Like, I don't really like licking my fingers.
Me either.
Like,
it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
So, like, if I have chocolate all over my fingers, I'll always instinctively go to lick it, and then I go like, I don't want to do this, because then like you just have spit on your face. Just not.
When I was a kid though, like high key, I definitely did lick like extra.
100%.
Like you eat a bag of Doritos, like I licked the fucking nacho cheese off my fingers. I licked the chocolate off my fingers from a Snicker or whatever it is. But now, as a grown ass man, you're just not about to see me licking.
I just go wash my hands. Yeah.
We're too old for that. I feel like. But yeah, no, I a lot of the candy I like is phallic, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't care about.
There's nothing wrong with stuff like that, eating hot dogs. The problem is if you swallow hot dogs whole. then we got a problem. If you swallow hot dogs whole, then like you and me got issues.
It's a whole different level. I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna pivot from this. So another one of my favorite candies is Crunch Bars. I love Crunch Bars. Nestle Crunch is like one of my also favorite candies. And I can't mention it without mentioning Bunch of Crunch, which is pretty much an exclusive movie theater candy. Like
I was gonna say, Crunch in general, even though it's not exclusive, maybe it's really good advertising. But whenever I think of Crunch, I think of movie theaters. Like I very rarely buy a Crunch bar.
Yeah, same.
Outside of going to the movies.
It gets a buff. Dom and I were talking about before we recorded this episode. We were mentioning like environmental buffs for candy. Some of them just get environmental buffs, and Crunch and Bunch of Crunch is one of them. It just gets a buff from being like at the movie theater. It tastes way better. So good. What else? Snow Caps.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Wait, you eat Snow Caps?
I don't eat Snow Caps, but I know people go up for Snow Caps at the movie theater.
That's cool.
Like they're not for me.
Do you know what the little things on the outside of Snow Caps are called? Like the nonpareils?
Nah, they're sprinkles if you ask me.
Yeah,
is it sprinkles? Okay. that ruins candy. It's called. I think they're called nonpareils. They might just be sprinkles. I might just be being bougie.
No, hold on, real quick. I just call them sprinkles. I'm the most layman of laymen. All right, like it's like it's sprinkles.
Yeah,
like don't not take my word for it.
Yo, sprinkles is fun. Like, this is a stupid word.
Yeah, I don't go up for Snow Caps, but I know people love them. At the movie theater, people in front of me are always ordering Snow Caps, and I've never bought that on my own. Like if I ever ate Snow Caps, it's always because somebody gave me some of theirs, but I never I want that. Some nasty shit though that people do at the movie theater, and this really disturbs me, and I feel like it's terroristic activity, is Raisinets. If you eat Raisinets, I just feel like you should be checked in. I think that there's something wrong. I think we need to have an intervention. Like if you go somewhere and you're like, I'm going to watch this movie, but I'm also going to watch it with Raisinets, you need to be checked in.
You got to think about it from the perspective of like candy creators. Like they're like, all right, we got this thing, milk chocolate, right? This milk chocolate is fantastic. What can we add to milk chocolate to make people really think about whether they want to buy this product or not. All right, raisins
Oh
is what we're
god.
gonna add. Like,
I can't deal with raisins at all. I don't like raisins in anything. I know that there's that whole meme about people putting raisins in potato salad. Kenny, what are you gonna say?
Raisins. Why do we eat expired food? Like
on purpose.
raisins, they're expired grapes. Like
They
I
are.
don't
They're
understand.
dried up ass grapes. Like who
Like
wants
I
to eat that?
understand if we were in the Great Depression, like I
Yes.
get it. Gotta do what you gotta do, but why do people buy expired food? I don't get it.
It's not just buying them; it's that we keep inserting raisins into perfectly fine things
Like cookies.
that were like before raisins. Like, why did we add
Potato
raisins
salad.
to
Like
these?
why are the non-melanated crew doing that? Why are they doing that? Why are they putting raisins in things that don't
Whoa. Whoa.
Why are
Wait
they putting
a minute.
raisins in things
Don't
that
put
don't
this
belong?
on us.
Y'all started it, okay?
No. All right. I can't tell you how many. It's for whatever reason. This is just a grandmom thing. White, black, or Chinese, it don't matter. You go into a house, grandmom's got cookies, and you go, "Oh, these are some nice chocolate chip cookies."
No.
And then you bite into it, and it's not chocolate chip cookies. It's a fucking raisin cookie.
Honestly, that is the most depressing shit ever. Every time I bit into a cookie thinking it was chocolate chip and it was oatmeal raisin, not only do I gag a little bit, but I get extremely angry.
Furious.
Kenny's dying right now. If you're on Patreon and you're looking at the video of this episode, Kenny is dying. Almost made him spit out his water. But
I
yeah,
hate raisins.
I'm not a fan of Raisinets. And every time I see somebody buy Raisinets, I just think like, what went wrong in their life? Like where did the school system fail them? Like where did their parents go
Trauma.
wrong? Yeah, like
You
what
know-
childhood trauma did they go through to make them say, you know what, I want right now? I could eat anything in this movie theater. I want fucking Raisinets.
You know what that reminds me of? Go ahead, Dom. Go ahead.
I was thinking that, like, I think the name raisins makes them a little bit worse because if they were called like sun-dried grapes, I think more people would be going up for like sun-dried grapes. But we call them raisins.
Agreed. The name raisin doesn't sound good. Like when I think about Raisin
It
Bran,
sounds terrible.
yeah, it doesn't sound good. Like it doesn't roll off the tongue in a way that makes me think like, oh yeah, I want that. Because I love grapes. I actually love grapes, by the way.
Same.
I can just eat grapes. But when you tell me to eat raisins, I'm like, well, you go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat expired food, so I mean,
Yeah, just not a fan.
But you know, the raisin and the cookies thing reminded me of. Speaking of candy, you like Whoopers, right? It's like chocolate and they're like crunchy on the inside.
Yeah.
Every box of Whoopers, they like sneak Milk Duds in there. They'll just be like, you ever like bite into what you think is a Whooper from a box of Whoopers, but it's not crunchy on the inside. It's just like a Milk Dud instead.
So what is the difference between that and a Milk Dud? Is a Milk Dud filled with something?
Milk Dud,
I think it's
they're
like
like
caramel,
not
right?
they're like not crunchy. Yeah. I think they're more like
Yeah.
caramel. Like they're not, instead of being crunchy on the
Yeah, because
inside.
Whoopers Whoopers are definitely crunchy. You know what it is though? I just want to say this while we're on the topic of Whoopers. I was going to bring this up once we got to it, but that shit kind of grinds up against my teeth in a way that's unpleasant now. I don't really like biting into Whoopers. It kind of like, like nails on a chalkboard. It kind of gives me that vibe when I bite into a Whooper. Sometimes it crunches in the wrong way and it kind of skeeves me out. I don't know. It's weird. And I'm really weird with textures.
Are they called Whoopers? Are they actually called Whoopers?
What do you
Once
call
again,
them?
I thought they were called Whoppers. I don't know.
No way.
For a fact.
I can't
It's
call
two
them
O's.
Whoppers.
There's two
It is
O's.
2 O's. I can't call them Whoppers because isn't that a meal?
That's a burger.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
a-
burger.
It's a burger. But
Yeah,
I've been calling them Whoppers my whole life. Oh my God.
Well, I
But I
mean,
think
honestly,
because there's 2 O's, it's got to be Whooper. I
yeah,
think.
it has to be Whoopers. If it's Whoppers, then my whole childhood is a lie. Because I used to go up for those. They used to come in a carton, right? Then they come in an actual carton like milk.
They still do.
Oh, they still do? Okay. Yeah, I haven't had them in a while.
I mean, I'm sure there's like different packaging, but I know you can still get them like in a carton.
Do you guys like Butterfingers? Remember the Simpsons commercials we always used to get for Butterfingers?
They're okay. They're like C tier.
That's how I feel.
All right, so Butterfingers are like very, very specific. There's like a time where you want specifically
You
a
know what it
Butterfinger.
is? Reese's exist. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that the problem with Butterfingers that Reese's simply exist. And every
The
time you
same
can have a
people-
Butterfinger, you could just have a fucking Reese's.
You just get a Reese's. The same people that like Butterfingers, which is crunchy peanut butter, like crunchy peanut butter. And the people that like crunchy peanut butter probably like raisins. So they probably off eating Raisinets instead of eating Butterfingers like they could be.
Jesus.
Why'd you have to go in on them like
Right.
that? Like, just leave them alone.
At the
I
very
never
least,
understood the crunchy peanut butter thing. Like, it didn't make
like
sense. But
Chico
there's like a
sticks.
time where it's cool.
You remember Chico sticks? Was that a thing in your area?
Unfortunately, because of D4L
Okay, so
specifically.
you do know Chico sticks. Yeah, Chico sticks, people used to love. I never was a fan. I was
Me neither.
never a fan of that. Was some ghetto ass candy to me, or whatever you want to call it. That shit was so ghetto.
I never understood it. You got it because like it was ghetto, but you also got it at the same ghetto ass store you could just get a Reese's from.
Yes, like the Poppy store.
I don't understand why you would ever
get
get a
Chico
Chico
sticks from a
stick.
Poppy store, and I don't understand why your choices
Or
are
like a cow tail. Like I'm not buying a cow
Ew.
tail. Like get that shit out of here.
What's on the outside of a Chico stick? What is that?
I don't know what it is.
Suppression.
It's just orange. It's just the color orange.
It's just stuff.
You're
Like
just
it's just
eating
like they
orange.
rolled it around on the floor.
You're eating leftover floor. You're actually just eating fucking leftover floor, crunchy leftover floor. I don't know what it is
No.
though,
Like-
Dom. Seriously.
It's disgusting because like it looks like when your grandma like don't step in that trash and then you step in the trash. That's like what
Oh,
a Chico
it
stick
does.
is.
Yo, I swear to God. I swear to God. The visual for that is so accurate. Don't step in that trash. Yo, don't step in that trash is crazy. I'm sweating. Because I literally know exactly what you mean. When you look down at it, because you almost stepped in it, and you see it looks
You're
like a Chico
damn.
stick. It looks like crunched up Chico stick. That's wild.
I hate it for him. I really
Yeah.
do.
No, you're absolutely right though. Okay, so I am a big fan of peanut chews. I don't know how you guys feel about them, but I go up for peanut chews. It's one of my favorite candies. And I didn't even know that the base peanut chew, like in peanut chews in base, not like Super Saiyan or anything like that. In base, peanut chews are dark
What does that
chocolate.
even mean? Like I don't even know what that means.
They're dark. They're dark
why are we
chocolate.
comparing peanut chews to Saiyans? Like I don't.
Because in base, like before, like no QB cloak or anything like that. Like base peanut chews are dark chocolate, and I didn't know that until recently because I saw a milk chocolate one, and I was like, what the fuck? I've been eating these all my whole life, and I don't even like dark chocolate.
Yeah. On that note, do you guys like the dark chocolate or white chocolate Reese's?
Never had them.
The white chocolate's okay. The dark chocolate is it doesn't taste like dark. It kind of just tastes like milk chocolate part 2. I mean, it doesn't really taste different. So it's
Yeah, it's just like a little, I guess, what's the word? Like richer, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
People get so
they put
pretentious about their
just-
dark chocolate.
yeah.
They put just enough milk so that they can still call it dark chocolate, but it's closer to milk chocolate.
Anytime somebody tells me that I need to drink wine with this, you can go fuck off. Like, I feel like dark chocolate is so pretentious. Like, people eating that shit with wine is ridiculous. Every time I see dark chocolate, I just get annoyed. And it's weird because I like it on peanut chews specifically. But I think that if you put chocolate on peanuts, that you can't go wrong though.
I don't know. That wrapper is just not doing it for me. I can't get past the wrapper.
The wrapper?
It looks the wrapper on peanut chews looks so old.
It does.
I've never made it past.
Yeah, it might be triggering for us too, because like, you know, if we go too far back being black people, it's just like, you know, can't. It looks like it might be from those times. Like, you know, like I get a little scared.
There is some candy that you can just tell it's old, like Fifth Avenue.
Charleston Chew.
Charleston
Chew.
You can't tell me that a Charleston Chew didn't come from some racist ass place. A Charleston Chew, that just sounds bad. A Charleston Chew.
The first time I heard that, I thought it was tobacco. I didn't think that it was candy at all.
Honestly, why is it not tobacco? I feel like it should be.
It's named after tobacco.
A
But
Charleston Chew, that shit sounds bad. I'm a big fan of like Swedish fish. You know, little Swedish fish.
Yeah,
little red
yeah.
fishies. They're really good. If you don't mind things getting stuck to your teeth and the roof of your mouth.
I can't do the teeth. Yeah, the
Yeah.
teeth thing.
They're nostalgic for me. Like I don't ever go out and get them, but
Me
I
either.
remember when I was younger, I would eat them with my dad and stuff. Like my dad would get them, and that's how I remember them.
So I guess I should bring up the fact that like when I think of Swedish fish, I think about them being 5 cents. And let's just talk about prices for a second. When I was a kid, right? Back in my day, Swedish fish, peanut chews, they were 5-cent candies. So when I would go to the store with $1, I'd come out with like a bag of Doritos, a pack of Oreos, and a bunch of Swedish fish because everything was just so cheap at the time. Like 25 cents for a bag of chips, 50 cents for a thing of Oreos.
I remember saying back in my day when I was like 9, because the corner store at my place when I was like 6 sold crybabies for a penny. So you could get literally a thing of 100 crybabies for a penny. And by the time I was 9, they were like 5 cents or whatever. And I remember being 9, like, man, when I was little, like crybabies were a penny.
All right. Anyway, This little ass kid talking about.
But crybabies are fire, man. Like I fucking love crybabies.
I do like crybabies. I definitely ate them a lot as a kid. Like I wouldn't eat no shit like that now. I feel like that is just.
I would if I could find them. Dog, I'm going up.
I feel like there's something like a little mentally wrong with going after crybabies in your 30s. Like I feel like attacking like you made a conscious decision to choose to have a sour face, right? Like
oh, it's so good.
You made it at your big age.
You chose to pucker up. Huh?
Yeah, you chose to pucker up.
I chose. I will pucker the fuck up.
You chose the pucker.
I'm puckering. I am puckering.
Yeah.
Because you can't find them anywhere. Like, they're even more... Like, I feel like you can't even find them at gas stations anymore. I only can ever find crybabies, and I don't ever do this because I'm not fucking chasing the ice cream man, is on ice cream trucks. That's the only place that I can find that actually still sells crybabies for some fucking reason.
They used to be 5 cents when I was a kid. I always think about crybabies were in the same exact little glass displays next to the peanut chews that were 5 cents, the Swedish fish, and those little burgers. Remember the little burger candy?
Oh, yeah.
You kind of take it apart.
It's like chewy?
Yeah, chewy little gummies.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, speaking of chewy candy, Fruities. Oh my God, those are so good. A bag of Fruities?
Like the Tootsie Roll looking. Okay.
Yes, they look like Tootsie Rolls, but they're just not. And the thing about that is that Tootsie Rolls are fucking disgusting.
Tootsie Rolls aren't it.
What is a Tootsie Roll? Like, what are you eating? What is it?
Oh, it's cotton candy, sweet as gold.
You're just you're just eating black.
It seems like you're eating an attempt at chocolate. Like they tried to make
they
chocolate.
failed. It's like when chocolate goes and die.
It does taste like a homunculus. Like
oh shit. Not a homunculus. Every time I've ever bitten into a Tootsie Roll was by accident. Like it just wasn't intentional ever. It was never intentional, and I'm always disappointed.
How?
I know, right?
Yeah.
You're probably wondering, how did I get here?
I'm wondering.
It's like when you watch those movies, like you're probably wondering how I got here. Every single time I eat a Tootsie Roll, it's a mistake. Because it's always like, oh, this is the only candy left. Now that should be my first sign that something is off. When you look at like a candy bowl and the only thing left, you can tell people picked around and the only thing left is Tootsie Rolls. It's just like a fucking sea of Tootsie Rolls. That's how you kind of know. And I'll always be like, you know what? They can't be that bad. And I'll eat one. And then I'm like, God damn it.
And you're wrong every time.
Every time. But Fruities are insane. They're basically just the actual children of real candy, whereas like Tootsie Rolls are the adopted child that no one likes. Like that no one likes. Like the little black kid in the white family that like everyone's just looking at them sideways like, who the fuck is that little, like they're just
He's a
that
redheaded stepchild.
They're literally that. I don't know. Fruities just do it for me. And I think about those we used to have a penny candy store where literally candy, like you said, Kenny, would cost a penny from what I understand. But when I went to it, so the label of the store next to my house when I was a kid was called Penny Candy Store. My dad would always talk about how shit used to actually cost a penny. But I guess what's happening to us with the dollar store, where the dollar store isn't actually a dollar store anymore. I don't know if you guys know that.
It's not.
My dad would complain about how the penny candy store, now candy is 5 cents. And I used to always think he was a psycho because I'm thinking like 5 cents isn't any amount of money either. But now I'm starting to see
it's quintuple the price.
It is. It's literally 5 times the price. And so now it is happening to us. Like our generation is experiencing, there's no such thing as a dollar store for real anymore. It's still called a dollar store though, but nothing is
still called the dollar store. The dollar menu's not the dollar menu anymore.
Yeah. Is it really not?
No, it's not.
It's always called I think it's called the value menu now.
Yeah. The value, something like that, some value thing.
Just spoiler alert: we are going to have an episode of this podcast. Dom will be on it again, and we will talk about all the fast food chains. We're just going to talk about literally, McDonald's, Popeyes, Cane's, Bojangles, Chick-fil-A, like all of it, Burger King, everything, Wendy's, all that shit that you guys like, and we're probably going to be ranking them and discussing our typical orders from them. But yeah,
secondary spoiler.
Yes.
I could add.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fast food restaurants also have environmental buffs. I won't say more, but just know that fast food
they're environmental buffs. I think food in general, right? Because not to get too off track, but we talked about the movie theater buff with Bunch of Crunch. I also think that nachos get a fucking buff at movie theaters for me because I don't eat nachos normally. Like I don't naturally order nachos, but when I'm at a movie theater for some reason, I just like that cheap ass nachos with cheese. That's like $10.85.
You're right, and I don't. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Kenny.
I was going to say like funnel cake, right? Like I'm not going to go order funnel cake. If I'm at a carnival for some reason. Oh my God,
funnel cake is crazy.
I'll get funnel, but I'm not going to ever, like in my everyday life, I'm never like, damn, I could go for some funnel cake.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, a carnival's in town, I'm like, I want
Yeah, you
some funnel
can't not get funnel cake at a carnival. So that's another, example of an environmental buff. How about back to
Wait, what
candy
was
though?
Dom was about to say
Oh, go
something
ahead, go ahead.
first.
Oh no, I'll get off of it, but I just like because when you said the nacho thing, I realized that like I really be in the movies enjoying a soggy nacho, like a
Yes.
nacho that's been sitting in cheese for so long that it's now soggy, and I'm like, damn, this shit hitting.
Yes, and it's
I don't know.
salty as hell, and then you have to have a bev.
Ah.
But how do you guys feel about some of the? I'll call these the top 10 type of candies, the classics. We already went over some of them, but these are like Starburst and Skittles. I think about those are like quintessential candy.
Okay, so I'm gonna rant real quick. First of all, Starburst and Skittles are just like okay to me. I never thought they were that like when every time I looked at Skittles, I was like I could just have M&Ms. They're the same thing, but M&Ms are better to
True.
me.
True. I like
And
chocolate more, so I agree with you on that. They look exactly, at least if you're talking about regular M&Ms, not M&M peanut or whatever.
yeah, I'm just talking about normal M&Ms.
They look like
yeah.
regular M&Ms, but they just aren't as good because I prefer chocolate over regular candy. Like I don't even know
Same.
what do you call. I guess it's just candy, right? Like Skittles and Starburst,
Yeah.
they're just sugar. It's just sugar.
And Starbursts are okay, but I don't rate them highly. But I also wanted to ask if you guys have been hearing about this lime Skittle thing that everybody's talking about nowadays.
No
I
clue.
can't escape it. Apparently, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, Skittles had an exclusive lime Skittle flavor, and it went away for like 10 years. And they just brought it back, and everybody's fucking talking about it like it's either crack or like it's awful. I was wondering if you guys know anything about it.
No, I don't know anything about that.
No,
Rip.
I'll say my piece on like Skittles and Starburst. I love Starburst, the original pack. They have red, orange, pink, and yellow. I think personally, pink lemonade is probably the best one to me, the pink flavor, and then close second is the red flavor. I think orange is just straight bottom tier, like that's my fourth, and then yellow is just kind of there. But I know people rank their Starburst flavors all kinds of crazy ways. I just think orange is unplayable.
Wait, first of all, orange is like number 2 behind pink.
Okay, all right. You think orange number
and
2?
like red is the most. It feels like medicine. Like it feels like I'm eating medicine.
It doesn't seem like red has a different texture.
It's so thick. Why is it so thick?
Isn't it way thicker than the other ones? Like it naturally just feels thicker than the other colors, and that can't be true, by the way. But like,
because when I go through my kids' Halloween candy, because I do that,
You
I'm
have
looking
to.
for that. Because if you find the thick pack, it's got 2 reds. Like and you just toss to the side, everything's fine. And then my kids like the red, so they open it up. And oh, they got 2 reds. I'm like, yeah, I know you did.
You know what's fucked up? Your kids don't actually like the red one. It's just kids like red. Like you know, like
kids
just like red. Like
yeah, that's true. Kids just like the color red. But I do have a story for you going through your kids' candy. When I was a kid, and I actually posted this on Facebook years ago, and people were like losing their shit over it. But I'll tell a story and verbally this time. When I was a kid, my dad, we went trick-or-treating together. I think I was dressed as like the Gold Ranger or something like that. One of those Rangers. And I got a bunch of candy, got a huge bag of candy in a Save-A-Lot bag, came back home, super happy, wanted to bust it down immediately, kid shit. My dad was like, absolutely not. I have to go through all of it. I didn't understand, right? Because I think, he's a psycho. He just wants to steal my candy. And he sits at the dining room table and dumps all my candy out. He's just like slowly feeling on all of the candy and then putting it back in the bag. And I'm watching him from the side of my eye thinking like, this guy really is going to steal all my hard work. Like I did all these smiles, all these fake ass smiles to these adults. Like I've done everything I had to do to get all this candy. He just did nothing but ring the doorbell when I couldn't reach it. And here he is about to take it. So he's gone through all the candy, eventually gets to a point where he's like, all right, take some today. Like you can have some today, grab a couple. And this is what you have today. And I'm going to ration it out to you over the next couple days. Because obviously if you gave it to me, I had no self-control as a kid when it came to sweets, and he knew that. And I still don't as an adult.
I was going to say, I don't think you have self-control over sweets today.
I don't have any self-control, but at least it's my decision now. So if I die, I die. It's kind of one of those.
I went to Fraser's house one time and got a bag of hot fries. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, I fucking hate you. You can't ever come back over. I've been eating hot fries every day.
Literally I go puff hot fries every other day. It's really bad. But so my dad's going through all my candy. He starts rationing it out to me. And I'm kind of annoyed because I'm like, that's all of it is mine. I should be able to eat it as I please. But, now I understand at my big age that why he did what he did. Anyway, he hides it from me. He fucking hides my big ass bag of candy after giving me some of it. And one day while he was at work, I went into his room and I was snooping around and I thought I found my candy but I didn't. So I found what was in a gold wrapper, and it looked like candy. It was in one of his drawers, like his underwear drawer or something. And I was like, oh, here's some of my candy. So I, open the wrapper. I throw it in my mouth, what I think is the candy, and I'm chewing it. And I'm like, what kind of nasty gum is this? Like, it's just like this really chewy, weird texture thing, like very rubbery. And it's not sweet. It doesn't have any kind of good taste to it. And I'm chewing it for a long ass time and just kind of annoyed.
Oh, no.
I'm looking for it, and I'm still like going around the room too, like lifting up his bed, looking under his bed, going in the closet. And I'm like, this shit is disgusting. Like, what is this nasty ass candy? Why did he take this out? And so I ended up spinning it into his trash can and throwing the wrapper into his trash can. And later that night, my dad gets into a huge fight with his girlfriend. Like a huge fight. I mean, they are yelling upstairs. And I'm in the living room, like just watching Dragon Ball Z reruns or some shit. I don't know why they're yelling and arguing, but he's like, I swear to God, like I didn't do that. And she's going off, and then she comes storming down the steps. He comes behind her. They go outside, they continue arguing, and then he comes back in. And he looks so confused. And I'm kind of looking at him. I'm scared. Because I was thinking to myself, did I do something that made it where he got into a fight with his girlfriend? And come to find out, what I had been chewing on was a condom. And, and I threw the wrapper and the condom in the trash. So she saw a used condom, or what looked like a used condom, in the trash. And mind you, it has like my saliva mixed in with it too, so it probably looks like something else. So she sees this in the trash can, and she obviously assumes what anyone with a brain would assume is that obviously not his fucking kid chewed on a condom and spit it into a trash can, and more like, he cheated. So yeah, he ended up losing a girlfriend over that because it just looked so bad. There's no way he couldn't even explain it away because he didn't know I did it. But I don't even know if he ever like went to investigate the actual condom. I don't know if he ever touched it. I probably wouldn't either if I were him. Like, I don't know what happened in here. Like, you're like, I know I didn't use it, but I'm not about to grab it out the trash can. Like, I'm not doing that. She can go. So I never saw that lady again. I never saw her again.
That is the funniest shit ever.
If you hear this and get to the end of it, please go back to where Frazier posted the link to this episode and just type in F. Please.
F's in chat?
Oh,
F's in
man.
chat, please.
Yeah, so I've actually chewed, and I'm not afraid to admit it, like I fully chewed on a condom for several minutes.
You know what would have been so funny, though? If it was like a flavored condom and you're like, it's pretty good.
See? That would have been better. I don't even know if they existed back then, because this is the 90s, by the way. I just feel like condoms should not look so much like candy. Like, I think to kids, I don't think it's crazy that a kid could find a condom wrapper and think like that is candy. They kind of look like candy, at least to me. Maybe I'm crazy.
Agree.
I don't know.
Like a big lifesaver, like a gummy lifesaver.
Yeah, just like they look like something that you want to unwrap and there's like a little candy. And it's also gushy. It's like gummy, right? It kind of has like a gummy texture to it.
Yeah. Dude, I wonder, damn, you know what's fucked up? You can probably find stories. There's probably kids that had to go to the hospital because they thought the same and they legit swallowed it. Like, imagine if you swallowed the condom.
Now that you say that, I feel like I actually have heard that before. That someone has swallowed the condom and it causes all kinds of problems and stuff. But yeah, that's my story with my dad checking through my candy, trying to be a good dad and not let me get, because I would have eaten all of it and had a stomach ache and then not been able to go to school the next day or whatever, and that'd have been a whole thing. Or I would have had an asthma attack because I had really bad asthma as a kid and everything triggered it. But
can I say something on the note of Halloween candy and parents checking the candy?
Yeah.
So obviously everybody's heard of this. You get Halloween candy, people check it because like there might be drugs in it.
Oh God.
Or whatever. So I looked into this. This was like years ago now. So maybe in the last 3 years, things have changed and everybody became crazy. But about 3 years ago, I looked into this, and there has never, ever been a reported case of like Halloween candy being poisoned, except for one time. There's one time where a kid's Halloween candy was actually poisoned and he ended up dying. However, the person who poisoned it was his own dad. And like a month before October, he put an insurance policy out on his son.
Wow.
And literally poisoned his son's candy to kill. So the only time Halloween candy has ever been poisoned, according to the Police of America, as of 3 years ago, was a dad who did it to his own son to try to take a life insurance policy out on his son.
You know how forward thinking you got to be like, you know what? It's September. Halloween's coming up.
Yeah, that's
I need some money. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is so wild. Now, I will say this. On the topic of people putting drugs in candy, no one's doing that. That's not real.
It's
no
not
one,
real.
no one is spending their hard earned on good drugs just to put them in fucking kids' candy. No one's doing that. People always talk about like, oh, people are giving kids edibles and shit like that. Edibles are expensive. No one's buying edibles to give the children. That's just not a thing. People who buy drugs, they want to get high, and they don't. You won't even get the satisfaction of seeing what happens to the kid if they eat the edible. Like at least I could imagine if you want to drug a kid, right? Like if that's what you're into, I think part of the satisfaction of probably, giving a kid an edible is seeing how crazy they get on the fucking edible. You don't even get the satisfaction of that. You don't even know what happens.
It's like if you were to give an edible to like a cat or something.
Yes.
You don't want it to be a random cat. You want it to be your cat so you can see what happens.
Yeah, you want to look at him and be like, oh god, he's fucked up. The edible is hitting him hard. But like, no one's doing that. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, Bubblicious, Bazooka Gum, Hubba Bubba, all of those things, all of those gums that you put in your mouth and you put a couple in, right? Pause.
Barbershop gum.
Barbershop gum. Oh, that's a good way to describe it, Kenny. You throw it in and you just start chewing on it until you get a glob going. You just get like a fucking glob of gum, and eventually it loses its flavor. And some gums lose it faster than others, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember every time I went to the barbershop, I'd get like a handful of gum.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what my favorite. I think Bubblicious because it had that soft texture from the gate. Bazooka used to be kind of hard, and if it was stale, right? Like if it had been sitting for let's say a year, and somebody gave you some Bazooka, the little twisty, you got to untwist them. That shit used to almost break my teeth. Some Bazooka can be hard as hell.
You got to suck on that shit before you can bite it.
Yeah, Bazooka can get bad. But hard Bazooka is not. What is it?
Big League Chew. Big League Chew was the bomb. I used to like it because I thought like I was cool. Like I would watch The Sandlot and see the kids like do the thing where they put the tobacco in their mouth. Eventually they hurl. Like I get the Big League Chew and just stick it inside of my mouth. And then if you ever leave gum in your mouth for too long, it kind of, I don't know if you've ever done this, but like I fell asleep with Big League Chew in my mouth before.
Me too.
And then it turns into just like goop.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really weird.
And it's super, super sticky too. Like to the point where that's how it gets in people's hair. I know a lot of people have fallen asleep before as a child and they end up with gum in their hair, which is such a wild thing. But it's just like a common occurrence with kids. Like a kid will fall asleep with gum in their mouth and it will end up in their hair somehow. And it's just the hardest thing to deal with. Like it's just entirely too difficult. But yes, over chewing gum is real. And gum when it loses its flavor is awful because then you just get a headache.
Yeah.
I do that every time I eat them.
When I say I'm talking about when I was 12, because I don't really think I've bought gum in a long time, but I don't remember what it was called, but it was like gum, but it had like juice inside it. I'm such a kid.
I know what you're talking about.
It was like juice in the gum, and so you bite into it, and like it would be like a gusher.
Yes.
And then you would just chew it like
I know exactly what you're talking about. I
shit like that.
I like that, except those lost flavor so fast.
They really did.
Yeah,
they had so much flavor, but then it was gone.
Yeah, a lot of those gums they start off really strong, but then you got to get like your 10 minutes of chewing in and then be done with it. Yeah, that shit's instant trash can food at that point. Candies that people should stop giving out though. I hated Smarties when I used to go trick or treating, and I got Smarties in my damn bag. I hated that. That candy, it looks like little pills, little ecstasy pills or something. I never liked those.
Candy corn, it's got to go.
Candy corn's terrible.
Hold up.
Candy corn's gotta go.
Hold the fuck up.
It's gotta go.
Whoa.
All right.
Relax. Okay. Dom. I'll give you the breakdown. So like,
Dom, do you want to be my partner on the IMNerd podcast? Fraser's got it. Fraser's got it.
What's happening?
When you smell it, when you smell candy corn, you go, man, like I want to eat this. You're like, this smells fantastic.
It does.
And then you eat one piece, and that one piece is like kind of good. And then once you get to piece number 2, you're like, why did I start eating this? And then you eat 3 more because you think it's got to be as good as the first piece. And then it's not.
Okay. Candy corn gets a really bad rap. And I kind of get it based on what you just said, because you are right. When you first eat candy corn, first of all, candy corn's only eaten one time a year, is Halloween. And because you only have it once a year, it's kind of like how people feel about turkey. Like people don't really go up for whole cooked turkeys all year round. It's kind of like a once per year type of thing. And outside of that,
then I'd rather have the ham.
See, a lot of people feel that way too. A lot of people feel like, turkey I can do with or without it. We'll have an episode on this too, like just home cooked meals. Yeah. But turkey and candy corn are both like a once per year situation, usually, like in normal households. Maybe Easter, but whatever. You get the idea.
Easter, you get them nasty ass peeps.
Ew. We can go on peeps in a second. But with candy corn, when you first eat it, because it's kind of like, oh, I forgot how this tastes. I think that's what happens to most people. Like you kind of forget what candy corn tastes like. And then when you eat it, you're kind of expecting, because it does smell really good. You're kind of expecting it to taste really good. And it just kind of tastes mid, but I guess because I like sweets so much and all it is just straight up sugar, I like it and I can eat it probably longer than most people, but I do get tired of it. Like what Dom was describing, how every piece gets worse than the last. I do feel it deteriorates really quick. But I do
you
like
you could have a bag of Reese's and that won't happen.
No.
You could just eat the caramel apple lollipops as your Halloween fix. Those are way better.
So I don't eat apples in real life. Like I'm not an apple person. But I always think about candied apples and caramel apples with all the little nuts all over them and stuff. And they look so much better than they taste to me. Like I think candy apples. Go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I just think that they look way better than they taste to me. But I don't like apples. That's the thing.
I was going to say, I actually like candied apples, caramel apples. I like them a lot. However, I don't ever eat them because they're frustrating to eat. The shape of an apple and like when you have all that stuff on it, it makes it really hard to bite into without your fucking mouth becoming disgusting with shit all. And then when you have a beard, like I currently have a beard, it's just like your beard is sticky. It's just they're just not edible because of how frustrating they are to eat.
Yeah, you have to be at home.
But I do like them.
You have to be at home in a comfortable setting to eat something like, because it's so. I feel the same way about like cannolis. Every time I eat a cannoli, it's such a messy thing, a messy dessert. Like no matter how you bite into it, no matter how you do it, you're gonna end up with the fucking what's that sugar called? That's all like powder sugar. You're gonna end up with powder sugar all over your face, which makes you look ridiculous, like a crackhead. And it's just messy. And I feel the same way about candy apples, but I guess because I don't like apples, I don't really go up for them, but I always look at them in the market because they come in packs of 6. You always see them in the little plastic container. But I don't know. That's just never been my thing. But they probably are just way better than candy corn. For one, it's actually what it says. It's an apple. Whereas candy corn, it's not corn. It's nothing. It's actually just nothing.
It's honey. It's mainly honey.
Okay.
And like, I like honey, but
I love honey.
What they do to it, I don't know.
Is that what they used to make candy corn? It's honey?
Yeah, it's either honey or like corn, depending on where you get it from, like corn syrup or honey.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
And I'm a big fan of honey. Like I actually really like honey as my sweetener. In my older years, like when I go to work, instead of sweetening my tea, because I don't drink coffee, but I sweeten my tea a lot of time with honey instead of sugar. So
I think just as an example of how good honey is. Now, granted, even still, this isn't my favorite cereal, but I think Honey Nut Cheerios are legitimately good. Whereas if you have normal Cheerios, they're fucking terrible. I think normal
Cheerios taste like chairs. Like I just think that they taste like something.
They taste like chairs, and I agree.
They just taste like chair. Like you ever bite into a chair? That's what they taste like. They just taste like chair.
I've never bit into a chair, Fraser, but I know what they taste like.
You guys never lived life. I've chewed condoms, chairs, like all types of shit. But anyway, regular Cheerios and chairs have the exact same taste, and I'm not a fan. But like you said, Honey Nut Cheerios they're valid. Same way I feel about regular cornflakes. They also taste like hay. But I think, Frosted Flakes, amazing.
Yeah.
You add a little sugar to it. We'll have a cereal episode too. I'm realizing as we speak that there's so many food topics to discuss. There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot. I want to get into okay. So some of these are about to get wild. But
before we get wild, I want to go way back for a second.
Okay.
Because Dom, you were going to say something, and I think we got sidetracked. When we were talking about the white sprinkles on the snow caps, you were going to say something about them, about how they ruin candy. I think you were going to make a point, but I don't know if you ever did, and I was interested in what that was.
My point was that like sprinkles ruin things. I think sprinkles
just in general. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was something specific to the snow cap ones that were like, I gave you cancer or something.
I like sprinkles personally on ice cream. So when Mr. Softy, or whatever it's called in your area, but in Philly, we have the ice cream trucks called Mr. Softy. And I always used to get vanilla with sprinkles. That was my order every time. And this is when ice cream used to be $1 from the ice cream truck. Now it's like fucking $3.50. It's wild.
Ice cream's expensive. A milkshake's like $6, $6 or $7.
Unreal. I would never. Anyway, I used to get vanilla with sprinkles, and the sprinkles made it for me. Seeing my cone spiraling up with the sprinkles all around it, that shit just did it for me. And then I would look at people who would get just chocolate sprinkles, and it looked like ants, and it would skeeve me out. It's like ants all over the ice cream, which is wild.
I definitely do fuck with chocolate sprinkles.
Do you?
But also, I want to say that I almost always call them Jimmy's. It was honest. I don't know. I don't know where the name comes from, but my whole life I've always called them Jimmy's, and I've heard
that too, though. And it's one of those things that like the words are synonymous. It's kind of like how Italians have gravy and sauce, and they'll fight to the death about it too. Like, you know, what do you call the red sauce or the red gravy? If you're from certain parts of Philly, the Italian market, it's like, well, it's gravy. And then certain people are like, no, it's sauce. And there's a whole debate over that. Same thing with Jimmy's and sprinkles.
I do feel like gravy and sauce are legitimately different things, but I'll save that for another day.
I think so too, Kenny. I really do. Gravy to me, when I think of gravy, I think about mashed potatoes.
Yeah, gravy and sauce are just not even remotely the same thing.
But apparently there's a huge debate on gravy versus sauce. And we can have
like, could you imagine? Okay, I'm gonna put this to bed right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm putting it to bed right now before, just because while we're here. Nobody orders a pizza and goes, hold the tomato gravy. Your pizza doesn't have tomato gravy on it. It's tomato sauce. It's not tomato gravy. That's all I'm saying. We can move on.
All right. Moving right along. We did bring up Lifesavers very briefly when I was talking about chewing on a condom. And I do like Lifesaver gummies. I'm a big fan of those. There was a period where every time me and you went to Wawa, Kenny, I would always get like a bag. I probably left them because I never threw away my trash. I was a terrible, terrible fucking guest.
Dude.
I was a terrible guest.
Earlier when we were talking about the Reese's and I said I would like ball them all up in a ball and you were like, you're better than me. I avoided saying it, but I know I'm better than you. Like, oh shit. Because
shots fired.
Because Fraser will leave his trash, and not just his trash, also his tissues.
Yo, yeah.
Fucking everywhere. Do you know how many times Fraser left my house and I would like sit on my bed and put my hands down and I'd be like, what the fuck? And my hand would just be on a fucking tissue.
I am so outraged. Now, granted, this is 10 years ago, and I'm a lot better now, but only marginally better. Like marginally better. I still have right now on my desk just tissues strewn about. I don't know why I don't throw them away. I have a problem. But even with like, I used to come over to Kenny's house. We used to go to Wawa at night. I'm talking about like after midnight. We would walk to Wawa.
It'd be like 1 a.m. Yeah, because we'd be playing video games, watching anime, and then it'd be 1 a.m. and we'd be like, you want to go to Wawa? And we would just walk to Wawa.
Wawa runs honestly remind me of my childhood. Some of the best times I've ever had just walking to Wawa, because the walk is like a 15-minute walk. It's really nice. And Kenny lives in a really nice suburban area, or at least when I was around there, it used to be. And you can walk around at 2 a.m. and nothing will happen. But we would get, I should say, I would always get Reese's sticks, maybe like a Wawa iced tea or a lemonade, because those, oh my God, they used to be so good. And they were only like $1.
They were big, and it was like, at the time, I think just $2. Now they're like $3 or something.
Yeah.
And like 3 times a year, they would have the deal where, so they're $2 normally, and then you could get 3 of them for like $4 or something. It would be like 3 times a year.
I remember when they were $1.09. So I would get those Reese's sticks, and I would get the Lifesaver gummies in a big bag, because Wawa pretty much only sold the big bag of them. And I could never finish the bag. I would eat most of it, then I would just start giving it to other people. Like, oh, you want some Lifesaver gummies or whatever? But that candy is really good to me. Also, like Cream Savers. I don't know if people remember those, but they were under the Lifesavers brand. Yes, Cream Savers were amazing, but they disappeared.
They stopped making them, but like
they brought them back, right?
I think I think they were like people got like real mad about it, so they brought them back. But then on like the subject of gummy candy specifically, I don't like Lifesaver gummies that much. They're okay, but what I do like is Welch's fruit gummies.
Yes,
Welch's fruit
snacks are very good.
Yeah, fruit snacks are the shit.
I'm a big fan.
Speaking of Lifesavers, made me think of like the normal Lifesavers that are hard.
Yes.
And which made me think of Jolly Ranchers.
Yep.
And when I was little, I had Jolly Ranchers all the time, but I almost died.
Same.
Because I swallowed one like when it was still whole by accident. I remember I was outside playing, and you know, your parents always tell you not to run around with hard candy in your mouth, but you know, you're a kid and you're dumb.
Yeah.
So I was outside playing, and I ended up getting a Jolly Rancher stuck in my throat, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like suffocating or whatever. And my mom had to call my dad. I don't remember exactly what happened because I was a kid, but basically my dad had to come home from work in his cop car. My dad was a cop. He literally, the cop car like zoomed onto our property. He like jumped out of the car and had to do like the Heimlich to get the fucking Jolly Rancher out. And everybody was just like staring at me, watching me die until my dad got there.
Do you know that that's why Lifesavers are called Lifesavers? Because they have a hole in the middle, so if you like swallow one whole, you can still breathe.
Oh
What?
shit!
Are you serious?
Yep.
You just
That's
blew.
crazy.
You just blew our minds easily.
That's fucking
you just
crazy.
easily blew. I never knew that.
Because I
Also-
legit almost died eating a Jolly Rancher. So
Me too.
like,
So I have a similar story. I was outside. I was eating the Jolly Ranchers, but not. I feel like I was eating the ones that were a bit bigger than the little tiny rectangular ones. Like I was eating. I don't know. They were a little longer. Oh, you know what it was? Remember they used to come kind of like Airheads. They used to be like long Jolly Ranchers that were thin.
yeah.
I would eat those. And one time I would, bite it, and it's kind of like thin glass. They almost have like a very glass-like look to them
Yeah.
because after you, I'm gonna just say it, after you suck on them for a while, they get very shiny and very translucent looking.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of them got lodged in my throat. Jesus Christ, this is getting bad. One of them got lodged in my throat, and I couldn't breathe. But one of the guys on my block, some old
It
head,
ain't worth doing a condom. You're good.
yeah, one of the old heads on my block, his name was Pumpkin, Mr. Pumpkin. And he was this huge, obviously he was huge. He was fucking gigantic, but we loved him. Pumpkin, RIP to him. He was just a great guy. He saw me choking on a Jolly Rancher and like hit me in the back. Like he just like hit me real good one time, like a palm, not like a, not close for. He just like kind of palmed my back once. And that shit came flying out, a green Jolly Rancher. And I was so happy because I could feel it. Every time I tried to swallow or inhale, it felt like it was slicing my esophagus. Like it felt sharp. You could feel the sharpness of it.
It's crazy how dangerous they made some candy. Like, remember Push Pops? You would just like suck on them, and then they would become sharp as fuck. Like they'd become legit weapons.
I used to sharpen them on purpose.
Yeah,
on purpose, exactly.
Yeah, I used to sharpen them on purpose. Like you knew what to do. This is wild, but you knew what to do to sharpen a Push Pop.
Yeah. And then you're a dumbass kid, so like you'd sharpen a Push Pop, and then you're just gonna hurt yourself while you're still eating because like you end up poking your tongue or some dumb shit.
This makes me think of Ring Pops too. I used to love Ring Pops.
Yep.
Ring Pops were fire. I don't know. I just liked Ring Pops as a kid. I just liked them. I don't know.
I was a Baby Bottle Pop fan. Like I like those.
Baby Bottle Pop.
Those were the ones where you like they had like a candy powder.
Cocaine on the bottom. Yeah.
The cocaine on the bottom. So that reminds me of Fun Dip. Fun Dip was on some shit too. Oh, remember the candy that was basically inspired by cocaine? It literally is like the tube of sugar, and it was
Pixie
really
Sticks.
Pixie Sticks.
I used to snort Pixie Sticks in school.
Jesus.
You know, I chew on the plastic ones. I will not even open it. And
Uh-oh, your robot in the bit.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit.
What'd you say, Dom?
Oh, my bad. Am I clear?
No, there you go. We can hear you now.
Okay. I was saying that like the plastic Pixie Sticks, the ones that are just like a string, I would like stick those in my mouth and just chew on them for like hours because
it just tastes good.
They're fantastic. Yeah.
We used to sell them in school. So I remember in my one school that I went to, there was like a group of people that would sell like candy, Pixie Sticks and bubble gum and stuff. And it was kind of like some drug dealer shit because it all went through this guy named Victor. I'll never forget. Victor like ran it. And if you tried to sell candy without Victor's permission, he'd just beat the shit out of you.
You couldn't sell on his block?
You could, dude, Victor was big as shit. He was big. I actually remember his full name. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't say his full. Don't give his full gov out.
But he would give certain people permission to sell candy. And like nobody could say because he was just bigger than everybody.
He was like an upper moon.
You couldn't say no to it. Like you just get your ass kicked.
So anyway, permission to spread the blood and shit. Like
so anyway, we would sell Pixie Sticks and all that stuff. And then for whatever reason, it was really popular at that time to like also snort Pixie Sticks and act like you were getting high.
Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna grab my notepad and my pen. So tell me more about where it started with you snorting Pixie Sticks. I just want to.
Yeah. So in 7th grade, I mean, on that note, when I was little, I don't do this anymore. When you're a kid, you make mistakes. I used to steal a lot from like stores and stuff. And so I remember I used to like go into this one store and I would come out with like a lot of stuff. And I always had this meta where it's like you go in and you always buy something. Because some people would steal and then we get caught because they walk around the store and then leave.
Right.
It's like, well, you stole something, idiot. So I remember I'd have all of this shit and I'd go up and buy like a bag of chips and a Gatorade and like you have all of this stolen shit on you. Anyway, we would do that and then sell it in school.
Y'all were making a killing.
But I remember one time I had like 8 Gatorades that I stole because I used to wear, it was the
Really
90s,
baggy clothes.
really baggy clothes. I had all these Gatorades and I had like a jacket with inside pockets. So I had all these Gatorades. I had like 8 Gatorades. And I'm getting out, I'm riding a bike, and then I go to cross the street to get to my school, and this car blows the stop sign and hits me. And I get hit off my bike. I end up having to go to the hospital and everything. But what's really funny is that when my friend told me the story, he was like, "Dog, there was Gatorade flying through the air, like it was
Like you got the
raining
Sonic
Gatorade."
ring smacked out of you.
Yeah, like I got Sonic's rings smacked the fuck. There was Gatorade just boom, just fucking everywhere.
Not Gatorade flying out of this kid. That is wild.
But anyway, that was a side tangent about selling candy.
It would be a disservice if we didn't mention nerds, right? This is the IMNerd podcast. Did you guys go up for nerds? I'm not a big fan personally of the actual candy. It's too sweet for me.
Yeah, they're just whatever. They're also like kind of like pop rock, like whatever.
Like the gummy clusters of nerds. Have you ever had those?
Those are better.
Those are better. Those are better than just a box of nerds. The box of nerds versus the little tiny ball things. Those are like, I don't know. They're kind of hard to. I couldn't eat that now. Like the thought of eating it right now, it makes my mouth is just going crazy at the thought of like that much sugar.
They seem like a topping more than like, I know they go in like Sonic slushes or like.
Yeah, they do give me topping vibes.
You know,
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What that nerds just reminded me of, these are like honorary candy in my opinion, because they're not candy, but I feel like a lot of people ate them as if they were candy. Tic Tacs and Altoids.
Yes.
Orange Tic Tacs? Oh.
Orange Tic Tacs are just, I don't even think they freshen your breath, but they definitely taste good.
Yeah.
I definitely like Tic Tacs. Altoids, Altoids remind me of old people. I didn't really eat Altoids until I was way older.
My dad always had them, and I would always get them from my dad.
Hence my thing with that. Like, I feel like Altoids and old people just kind of go together. I don't know. It's just like
at the time, I mean, relax, all right? My dad was like 26 at the time, all right?
Sure he was. What else is there? So, Sour Patches. I love Sour Patches personally. I feel like
Sour Patch Kids. Is that what you're talking
Sour
about?
Patch Kids. Yes.
Yeah,
Sour Patches
the watermelon.
So strangely enough, I actually don't like the watermelon flavor. I really don't like that flavor.
Is it just the flavor? Is it like, because the texture is totally different from like a Sour Patch Kid?
It is. I think that I like how sweet and how different all the flavors of the actual Sour Patch Kids is, and then the watermelon, it tastes different. It's a different texture. And it doesn't give me the same like sour, the sides of my mouth. So you know that feeling when the sides of your mouth start to go.
Yeah.
I don't get that from the watermelon kind. But also, I'll just say this. I don't know if it matters. Maybe it does. A lot of, I don't eat watermelon in real life. I just don't like watermelon. It's like not a meme. I'm black and everything like that. I just don't like watermelon. I like fried chicken. I like a whole lot of other things that we love, but I do not like watermelon at all. I just do not eat it. And I think that things that are watermelon flavored, they rarely taste like actual watermelon anyway.
Yeah, they don't.
So that's why I'm saying I don't even know if it matters that I don't eat real watermelon, but something about the watermelon Sour Patches I just do not like.
It's like things that are grape flavored. Like I've never had a grape flavored thing that I was like, this tastes like grapes.
Yeah.
So on the topic of like flavors that don't taste like the actual thing. So banana, right? Like,
yep. Banana Laffy Taffy. Oh my God, Dom, we said it at the same time. Banana Laffy Taffy.
So do you know why it tastes so askew from like an actual banana?
Tastes like chemicals. Well, why is that?
All right. So there was a previous species of banana that the flavor was based off of. There was a famine that happened. That species of banana went extinct. And the new species of banana that was reintroduced didn't taste the same. So the flavor that banana flavoring was based off of was from a totally different banana.
What the fuck?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So you're saying that it's basically based off of a lost fruit?
Correct.
Wow. I never would have guessed that or known that. Yeah, you seem to be like a little repository of random food facts. Like I like this.
Because I get curious. So like I'm eating, like I like banana Laffy Taffy. So I was like, why does it not taste like banana? So I went and looked it up.
Do you know?
I was like, serious?
Do you know the only thing I've ever drank that actually, has the scent and kind of vibe of apple with Snapple apple?
Like, I fucking love Snapple in general.
I love Snapple too, but when I eat things that are also like apple flavored, they're supposed to be apple. They tend to just not be anything like apple, like sour apple things. They're just green.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like typically something that's flavored like sour, it's just green. It just tastes like green. But then Snapple apple actually has a scent that smells like a kind of apple And then it has this aftertaste too that reminds me of biting into an apple. And again, I don't even like apples, but I love Snapple apple. That shit is crack.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your overrated, underrated? So like one candy that you think is overrated, and then one that you think is underrated.
Candy that I think is overrated. All right, let me look at this list and try to think about what do people absolutely go up for, but I just don't see it. I know a lot of people like Take 5, and I'll be honest, Take 5 is very new in the grand scheme of candies, right? It wasn't out when we were children. It kind of came in like, I want to say the last 15 years or something like that. I don't think Take 5 is like that crazy, if I'm being honest. I'd rather just have some type of Reese's or a Snickers by themselves, that type of thing. But I don't need like pretzel and all these other fucking things inside of it. Like, it's just never been one of those candies that I really, really went up for like that. Yeah, it's Take 5 for me. I think another candy that as a kid I thought was insane, but I still eat it from time to time. But as a kid, I thought it was the best candy ever, or the best like chocolate bar ever, and it was Hershey's Cookies and Cream. As a kid,
right,
it was like tier 0 to me. Like that was because I remember, this is how old I am. I remember when it came out. Like I remember Cookies and Cream coming out. Like that's how old I am. That's insane to even think about. Hershey's Cookies and Cream before it was actually a thing. I remember it coming out and everybody went crazy about it. Like it was so good. I thought the same thing. But now when I look at it, when I have choices, right? When I'm at local, so my local sells a lot of snack food, and they always have Hershey's Cookies and Cream, Snickers, Reese's, Kit Kats, Twix, all the basic stuff. And I always stare at it like, man, that used to be like my favorite thing. But now I kind of just look at it and just end up getting a Snickers or a Reese's every time. Like I never choose it. But then when someone else gets it, I always ask for a piece of it.
Yeah.
So I'm that asshole.
So that's over under. I think I hinted at this earlier. I think Skittles are overrated. I really don't fuck with Skittles.
Same.
So I don't fuck with Skittles. Underrated, not counting my love for Crybabies. I want them to come back. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I'll say I got underrated. Mr. Goodbar. There was a period.
I was about to say, bro, I'm quitting. I was literally about to say, Mr. Goodbar, bro, I'm out of here. I retire.
I mean, this is why we have a podcast together, because our synergy. We're in sync.
But I was literally about to say Mr. Goodbar.
I think Mr. Goodbar is such an insane chocolate. It is so fucking good. And
all it is, with the peanuts in it and shit.
That's all it is. It's just chocolate and peanuts. But something about it, it tastes so wildly good. I love Mr. Goodbar, and I don't think enough people give it its just due.
Yeah, I
agree.
Yep. I was gonna build up to it, but then Fraser just fucking stole the ball from me.
I typically do that. What about you, Dom? What's your over and underrated?
So overrated is Milky Way. I think Milky Way is
I agree.
I hate it.
And people who like that,
for Milky Way,
I stare at them. I just fucking stare at them like rudely. I just stare at them.
Underrated. Milky Way. So underrated too. But one of them is off the piggyback of the Mr. Goodbar, because often if you get a multi-bag of Mr. Goodbar, there's also Crackle. And Crackle is like Crunch, but better.
Yeah. Crackle. I forgot about that's not on the list either. If you notice, Crackle's
good. Crackle's good.
Crackle is super good. And then the other one is a point of contention, but Almond Joy is real underrated, and y'all be sleeping.
Okay, so here's where I gotta stop.
Almond Joy is popping.
I gotta stop the terrorism right here. So Almond Joy, I think people who eat Almond Joy also like the taste of soap. There is something very concerning about for you to like coconut. First of all, I think coconut flavored things and coconut in general is just scary.
Oh, I hate those, like, what are they called? They're like the snow. They're called like snow something. They're not snow caps, but it's like
snowballs. I hate those.
Snowballs are terrible, and they're coconut. They're so bad.
I'm so terrified. I think that people who willingly eat coconut things are going to commit like mass murder. I just think that they're going to do something really bad.
Grow up. You know what? Grow up. That's terrible.
Yeah, tell him, Dom. Tell him. Even though I agree with Fraser.
What's Mounds? What the fuck is Mounds? Because that's also nasty.
You don't remember the commercial for Almond Joy and Mounds? Mounds is dark chocolate with coconut. No, Mounds is dark chocolate with coconut. Almond Joy is milk chocolate with coconut and an almond. So the commercial used to be it used to be sometimes I feel like a nut and sometimes I don't.
I remember that. But what you just said scared me. You said Almond Joy is chocolate and coconut and almond. And the thought of a whole candy bar with one almond in it adds to my whole thought that there is some terrorism going on here.
There's like 3 in a big one, but I never get a big one. I always get the mini ones. And then if you get a big one, it's in individual pieces. So it's
Okay.
like it's 1 per piece.
I was gonna say with an almond in it, as big as those bars are, that is wild. Like imagine having to fish for your almond the entire time you eat. Like you don't know where you're gonna end up.
You are forcing this into terrorism. This is what you're doing.
I just think that coconut flavored things should be left alone. They do taste like soap, and if you're wondering, I have a story for that too, and it's very simple. I do know what soap tastes like because as a kid, in a lot of black households, I think they do this, but as a kid in my family, if you got caught cursing, so granted, yes, none of the kids were allowed to curse, but we all did it, and the parents knew we did it. The rule was if you got caught, you had to have your mouth washed out with soap. So Frazier got caught saying "fuck, bitch, slut," everything, just going off. I was just going off one day, and I didn't know that my grandma was home, and she was just standing behind me. And then I, turned around like that Mr. Krabs meme where you just like, you fucking get caught off guard. You get caught off guard and you turn around. She was just there. I was like, hey, big mama. And she was just like, come with me. She grabbed my arm. And my grandmother is big. My grandmother, the one I'm talking about, she has like those bingo wings. Like she makes the really good potato salad and big macaroni and cheese on all the occasions. She's real big. She's one of those church going ladies that like, she can shake her arms. You just see all the fat hanging down. She's like one of those.
You knew what you were doing when you did
I did the little bingo wing dance.
You did the arm.
She can cook her ass off. So when I was really, really young, obviously I'm not very strong at the time. So she grabbed my arm. I couldn't do anything. Like I knew exactly where she was taking me to the bathroom, and I was squirming. I was fucking sliding on the carpet, kicking and screaming like, no, unhand me, you heathen.
Unhand me.
And she's fucking taking me to the bathroom. She grabs the hand soap, which at the time, this is like, I feel like soap didn't even come in containers at the time for hand soap. I feel like there was just bar soap that people used as hand soap. I feel like they were just a bar of Dove, or I don't know.
You get a used bar of soap put in your mouth.
She put a used bar of soap. This is so awful. My grandmother took a used bar of soap. She rinsed it off real quick just to get it like lathered up. And she's like, open. And I was like, And I'm like, mouth closed, moving my head left and right. She's like, open up. And I'm just like, no. And she's just like trying to pry it into my mouth. And eventually, I don't know how, but eventually she got the fucking bar of soap in my mouth.
Yep.
And I had a mouthful of soap.
This same thing happened to me. I think that's just an old people thing, like an older generation thing. Like I don't think our kid, like the kids growing up now.
Well, first of all, it's poisonous, so there's that. Yeah,
I don't think any like of us, like I don't think Dom is like, I'm gonna fucking put soap in your mouth to his kids. But
damn, Dom got quiet.
It definitely damn Dom
in shambles right now. No, absolutely.
In shambles. No, but like Fraser said, we know more now. But that happened to me too. Literally my grandma, same exact thing. Also, my grandma used to always say, and one time she did do it, we'd be driving somewhere and be on the highway. She'd be like, I'm gonna put your pants down on this highway and beat your ass. And then one day she really did pull my pants down and beat my ass.
Damn.
You got caught on the highway. You called the bluff and you got caught.
Yep. Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes they just go through with some crazy. Yeah, I think we're from a generation where getting your mouth washed out with actual soap. Use soap at that. When I think about that, that is so disgusting. That is so disgusting. Jesus. So now I had condoms, soap.
Mm-hmm. You know how soap inevitably. It's like if you eat pancakes, right? No matter how clean you are.
You heard the stray on Tootsie Roll, right? You hear all the strays?
No matter how like proper you are, if you eat pancakes, syrup is going to get somewhere.
Yes.
Just on a table, on your elbow.
Yes.
Something. So when you look at a bar of soap, there's always just a stray hair on it. So
there is actually.
There's always a stray hair somehow on
even
a bar.
Hand soap. Even bar hand soap, there's just a stray hair.
There's always a stray hair. So when you got your mouth washed out with a fucking used bar of soap, there's a stray hair on that shit.
I don't know how we made it this far without bringing it up. I think we brought it up very briefly when we were talking about Skittles, but just M&Ms and M&M Peanut are another tier 0 candy.
Peanut M&Ms in the large bag.
Yes.
Buffed. It's the buff.
It is a buff. And there's a scary thing about it too, because when you get it in a large bag, it feels like you can't run out. So you just keep eating them. You just keep going. Out. Well, it takes a while though, at least for me.
This is a very awkward idiosyncrasy question, but how do you eat your peanut? Are you a heathen and you just throw a peanut M&M in your mouth and you just crunch it? Or are you sophisticated?
Do you suck it until it gets soft? Yes.
I'm a 50-50. So like sometimes,
Yep.
like if I'm eating a bag, like sometimes I just like I'll bite it, and then sometimes I'll just like like so. Fraser said this earlier. A lot of times when we're eating candy and stuff, we're playing video games or whatever. So if I have a bag of M&Ms, big peanut M&Ms or whatever, I'm probably sitting down playing a video game or something or watching a movie. So if I'm just throwing them in and like crunching them, right? If I'm like not doing anything actively, I might throw them in. But then if I'm like doing something in the game, I might throw them in my mouth and like suck on them for a little bit.
Yeah, I do the same. I'm the same way. So I'm 50-50. A lot of times when I eat peanut M&Ms, I literally just throw them in my mouth and I just crunch them and just eat them, right? But then sometimes after I've had a lot of them, I get into this thing where I kind of start to savor it, especially with the little bag, like the little 50-cent bag they used to sell, which is probably like $1 now. But with a bag of peanut M&Ms, just a regular size bag, when I get to the last, like let's say 6, I get depressed. And that's where I start to just suck on them. Like that's where I start to just like, I want to savor these last couple. So I'll throw 2 in and I'll just suck them until they become really soft. The chocolate gets really, really soft. And then I'll bite into them. And it has like a complete different texture to it. Like it's a different candy.
Yeah.
So
I'm imagining like the Thanos face where he was like, perhaps I treated you too harshly. You get to the bag.
Yes.
Into the bag.
Yes.
Like, yo.
You're so sad about it. Peanut M&Ms, they're up there with Reese's for me. I actually posted that on Facebook too, months ago, which kind of sparked my inspiration for this episode of the podcast because people were really torn about, what candy is the best. Like what is the best chocolate bar? What's the best candy or whatever. And M&Ms and Reese's got the most votes back and forth. It was just those two. Like, people threw out Twix, Kit Kat, all the other things, right? But at the end of the day,
those are all good. But I do put number at the top of S tier. The Meta Knight is Reese's for me.
Yeah, I think for me it's Reese's and M&M peanut. I think that it's so hard for me to pick between them. And when I say Reese's, it's usually Reese's Sticks, which is my personal favorite. But I'm never mad to have M&M peanut. Like you will never see me angry or sad if M&M peanut is my only choice. And same way with anything Reese's. I can eat anything Reese's. I think Reese's Pieces I like the least out of all Reese's products, but they're still better than every other candy. Like I'll eat Reese's Pieces before I eat anything else, and then everything else can come after that.
Okay, so since Easter's coming up, I have two separate candies that are like super popular on Easter: Cadbury cream egg and Peeps.
Ew.
Oh, Peeps are so bad.
I don't
On
like
both?
either of those.
On both?
I actually don't.
What was the
like
first one? I didn't hear the first
the
one.
Cadbury egg thing.
Oh yeah.
I think it's too much chocolate for me. Those are chocolate, right?
Yeah.
They're like a shell of chocolate with like the cream on the inside.
It's too much for me. I'm into a lot of freak shit, but I just feel like that is where I draw the line. Like, so I don't even like donuts, like the Boston cream. I think that's too much too.
I like them if I know what I'm getting. If I just bite into a donut and I don't realize that I'm about to get a fucking
mouthful,
donut's about to come in my mouth,
yeah,
then I'm upset.
It's unpleasant.
But if I know what I'm biting into, I'm like, all right, this is cool.
My first experience with the Cadbury egg was bad. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought it was just a fully chocolate, little egg thing. And then I bit into it, then something exploded in my mouth, and I didn't like it.
Oh, that's terrible. That's actually terrible. I wouldn't like it either.
I just didn't like it. And meanwhile, like you said, when we know what we're getting into, like I think about fruit Gushers. I love Gushers. Gushers was one of my favorite candies growing up was Gushers. I do not
like the Cadbury egg. I don't go out of my way to get it, but I do like the eggs that Dom's talking about.
Yeah. Now
Peeps are terrible though.
Peeps? Okay. Who are they making Peeps for?
I don't know. I don't know.
Who's the target audience?
Think they're not supposed to be eaten. I don't think they make them expecting you to eat them. They're just decorations.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
for Easter baskets.
They're decorations that just so happen to be edible.
Right,
because here's
without
the thing.
Dying. Like they could just make them poisonous so people stop eating them, but they don't.
They make them edible so that people don't die because kids are dumb and they eat things. But I think they're just decorations that so happen to be edible.
Yeah, no,
I'm not gonna lie. An Easter basket does not look like an Easter basket without Peeps. That being said, I ain't eating them.
Yeah. and the kids, what's weird is that the kids kind of know too. I always feel like when you look at a dead Easter basket, like when the Easter basket has been ran through and there's almost when there's just nothing but grass in that shit.
Yep.
The fake grass. When an Easter basket has been ransacked by a group of kids, the last thing in it is always a couple Peeps at the bottom. Like,
it's always Peeps, some jelly beans, and a couple Tootsie Rolls.
Definitely jelly beans, especially the dark jelly, like the licorice flavored ones.
I just also love how it's
Peeps
okay to leave raw jelly beans out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, raw jelly beans is kind of wild.
Peeps are like the upside down plate in the garbage can of candy.
They are.
Like, you just kind of throw them in the trash and hope
Face
nobody
down.
see because you don't want to hurt your mama feelings.
Yeah,
but
when something got cooked and it just like, who made the potato salad again? And you don't want to. It's kind of your way out. Who made that nasty ass food? So you put the plate face down. I know exactly what you mean. There was a period in my life where I think I was like, I might have fell and bumped my head or something, but I used to really eat Three Musketeers a lot. And
me too.
I don't know what was wrong with me, but the idea of eating one now makes me break out in hives. Like I don't
think they're bad. They got like that kind of like fluffy inside or whatever. I'll fuck with them.
It's too. I think what's happened to me, guys, is that things that are so much sugar, and there's nothing to really break it up. I can't, like, in my older age, I just can't eat them anymore. Like I can't eat Skittles. Skittles is just too much concentrated sugar for me.
Yeah, I don't fuck with Skittles.
And Three Musketeers, when I think about something about that fluffy just sugar, like it's just, I don't know. I used to love them though as a kid.
I think that's why I like the candies with like peanut M&Ms or like Hershey's with peanuts or Mr. Goodbar, because like there's this like twinge of saltiness that like breaks up.
It breaks it up. It's all that I can't, because even peanut butter breaks up the sweetness of just chocolate, right? Like peanut butter is so overpowering that typically peanut butter will like when I make a smoothie, peanut butter just overpowers every other flavor. So I can eat a smoothie with kale or whatever. Peanut butter just does that. So peanut butter and chocolate is always a go. But something about just nougat and chocolate with nothing else is just, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it, but I do like Three Musketeers. Like if there was an Easter basket and there was a Three Musketeers in there, I would eat.
You're gonna eat it. Yeah. Now I just forgo them because I know what you're talking about too.
But I wouldn't buy it. Like I don't ever buy Three Musketeers, but if it's in an Easter basket, I'd eat it. It wouldn't get left. You
know what candy I feel like fell off, and I'm sorry I have to say this, but I do feel like this candy, for me anyway, it fell off. Twix. I used to love Twix.
Twix.
I used to love them. I mean, I used to love Twix. And
for me, middle school, they were like the shit.
There was a period where Twix was just it. And that was just it for me. And when I look at Twix now, amongst a bunch of other candies to choose from, I never want it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never want a Twix.
It's so sweet. I think it's too sweet.
And I think it's that texture thing I was talking about where I kind of bite into it and it somewhat bothers my teeth now to bite into a Twix.
They're also like they're sticky too.
They're sticky.
Like they stick to your teeth like gummy candy.
Oh, okay. Here's the other thing about Twix that I don't like. If you do not eat a Twix, that shit melts in the wrapper often. Yeah. Like you ever bought a Twix and didn't eat it, and then when you find it, that shit's kind of like melded together. It's kind of like melted together. I hate that. Like I hate that Twix have to be in some below room temperature setting for them to be perfect. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I do like M&M's minis specifically in the tube.
Yeah. You like drink it?
Yo.
Drink it gets real ugly. Like it gets real ugly.
Environmental buffs. Also, I don't know about y'all, but when I was young and I would eat the M&M minis in the tube, the ones where you could just pop it open and click it back down, it felt like that shit took forever to run out. Like magic. Like it was magic.
Man, I don't know. Not for me. I think I might have been swallowing them shits whole like hot dogs. I think
I used to shake them in my hand like I was about to go and beat bitches or something. Like I just used to shake little M&M minis in my hand. You know how you always got like that one uncle that just shake like almonds or peanuts in his hand, and he bring his mouth up to his he bring his hand up to his mouth and he bites one or two. He just shakes them. I used to imitate that with my M&M mini. My dad was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop doing that! Like stop doing that." Yeah, I was just like shaking.
Oh man!
Speaking of the hood, that's a hood. I feel like that's a hood thing, and another hood
definitely.
Thing, like, if you just say the word "annihilators,"
annihilators. I didn't know for 10 years, minimum 10 years, that they were called now and laters. And I'm gonna be honest, if you're
not wrong.
If you call them now and laters, I feel like you the feds. I feel like if anyone ever said, "Bro, you got something now," or "Let me get a now and later," I think you're a cop. I think you're the feds. I just think that you're the ops and you're trying to get me. I feel like you're the same type of person who will walk up to a drug dealer and say, "2 weeds, please."
That's so good.
That's so many syllables. That's so
now and later is crazy. Saying now and laters is wild. Is now laters. And if you don't say now laters, you're a cop. You the feds. You the feds? You the feds.
You like licorice? Or you like Twizzlers or something? Like Twizzlers or Australian
I do like
licorice?
Twizzlers.
I go for Twizzlers.
I don't like licorice from what I remember. So I haven't had. So okay, I'm gonna say I don't like licorice because I haven't had it since I was a child, and when I was a child, the reason why is because I didn't like it. So I'm gonna just say I don't like licorice, but I do like Twizzlers.
Yeah, I like Twizzlers too. There was a period in my life where I had this little mission where I wanted to make a Twizzler into a straw, and I found that it was more difficult than it seems because you think all you got to do is bite the top, bite the bottom, and you get a straw. But that's not how it works because a lot of times Twizzlers, the hole when you bite it and it reveals that hole, it doesn't go straight through. So oftentimes you got to find the perfect Twizzler that's hollow in the entire center, and that can take a while. And I've spent a lot of money, and by a lot I mean like a couple dollars, like $2, but because they were 5 cents each also. So you get 20 for $1 or some shit. And yeah, I would get so many Twizzlers and try to make a straw out of it. Then when I would finally get my straw, it was just nothing. It wasn't even that cool.
Yeah.
It was just like I got a straw Twizzler, but it just wasn't even that cool.
You just wasted.
It is garbage though. It is garbage.
It's kind of good. It's kind of gross. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you mentioned the tubes for the M&M minis, Dom. Do you guys like Go-Gurts? You guys remember Go-Gurt? It was like yogurt in a fucking tube, like a squeezy tube that people would have.
I'll pass.
You fizz too?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
There's something scary about slurping on yogurt.
You remember?
There's something wild about giving kids fucking cum shots, essentially. Like,
dude, they were randomly popular. I don't know why. Like, I never liked them.
Well, they got a lot of advertising. They
did get a lot of advertising. Oh, you remember the fucking the frosty the icy pops, whatever the fuck. They're basically Go-Gurts, but they're not yogurt. They're
Push pops.
No, they're not push pops. It was like plastic, and you would like cut the top.
Well, the freeze pops.
Yeah, freeze pops.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that might not have been
they
what they're called.
And like it would melt in the juice, and you would drink the juice out of the plastic.
Yes. So in the hood, we just call them ice pops. I'm gonna be honest, because that Save-A-Lot, you get the big 100-count box, and you put the whole box in the okay. The way the summer
I feel like
starts
they have 30 names. I couldn't remember what to call it.
So the way summer starts in the hood, you just go to Save-A-Lot or you go to ShopRite or wherever, Pathmark, whatever your local grocery store is, and at some point you convince your mom or grandmom or whoever to buy the 100-count box of ice pops.
Yep.
And you just throw pretty much all of them into the freezer at one time, and for the next several days, you and all your cousins or whoever just kind of run in and out the house, grabbing ice pops and going back outside. Then it ends up on your t-shirt, like your white tee just has fucking, because you know how at the end of it, like you said, it melts. So you drink the juice at the end, and sometimes that shit just gets on you like, fuck.
Yeah.
The ice pops are, they were really good. I mean, I don't know if ice cream could be an entire episode, but when we do the episode on desserts specifically, ice cream will come up.
Yeah.
And like all things like that will definitely come up for that. Fruit roll-ups. I think that's considered candy, right? Is that's candy, right?
That's candy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love fruit roll-ups. I still like fruit roll-ups. Fruit by the foot. So is there a difference?
One of them is like a roll. It's like a roll, and you roll it way out. That's fruit by the foot. The one that's like super long, and then fruit roll-ups are just like a little sheet, like a sheet of paper. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I forgot the sheet. The sheet used to be so gummy.
Yeah,
and you would struggle to get it out, so you just started eating it.
Oh,
and then a lot of times, they would have like brand deals. It would be like an Avatar: The Last Airbender one, and it would be like in the shape. You could like the fruit roll up. You could like, I don't know,
peel it out.
Like a shape. It would be like a SpongeBob or something, and you could like, for whatever reason, play with your food. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So, we can start to wrap this up soon. I guess I want to just throw a couple more out there. Haichu and Mamba, those things. Those candies, I don't know if they're Asian candy. They give me Asian vibes. I feel like they're very Asian, like Haichu and Mambas. But they have very, very light flavoring. It's like Starburst. Like they kind of look like, a Starburst in a way. They're in like a little wrapper. And you bite into it. It has the same kind of texture as a Starburst, but the flavor is always so light and delicate. Some people love it. But I just choose Starburst over those every time, basically.
I would take Mamba over Starburst because, like, I think Mamba, they have like better flavors and they're like not so heavy, like they're not so thick like the red Starburst.
Yeah,
like we talking about. Yeah.
That medicine flavor, that medicine taste to them.
Yeah, I think
Mambas are German. FYI.
Okay.
I used to think I thought they were like island candy, like Jamaican or something like that, but they're actually German.
Okay. So this is why we need you, Dom, because you know a lot of random facts about this shit.
Yeah. You know facts about the actual candy. I'm just like, yeah, there was a dad that killed his son on Halloween.
For the insurance money of all things. Like, what the fuck is happening here? One of the people are very split on this, but like York peppermint patties, I know people think that chocolate and mint don't go together.
I think it goes together.
I'm with it. I'm with it every time.
Yeah,
I think they're okay.
I like Thin Mints. So Girl Scout cookies for me, Thin Mints is actually my favorite flavor. And this didn't happen until I was older. I think you know how they say your taste buds change over time. I didn't used to like mint flavored things because I just thought it tastes like toothpaste. But after a certain amount of time in my life, I just tried a Thin Mint. And I was like, yo, that was kind of bussin'. And ever since then, I've just liked mint chocolate things. Like that combination is good to me.
It's not bad.
Except mint Oreos.
I don't think I've ever had
them. They're so good. Are you serious? I love them.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Are terrible.
No, bro. Don't say this to me. You're ruining this. I love it. So if you specifically get the thin mint ones, like the thin Oreos, Oreos comes in this new thin thing. Instead of double stuff, you get them real thin. If you get the thin mint, I know saying that is weird, but thin mint Oreos are so tier 0 to me. It's actually my favorite Oreo cookie.
I just don't like that mint cream. I think maybe the thin ones would be better because like I like chocolate and mint, but like the mint cream and Oreos, it's like too much of it.
I think that's the thing. I think the reason why I specifically like the thin ones is because there's not as much mint in it. And that it's a balancing act, right? Like mint is very overpowering. It is kind of toothpaste flavored. So you don't want it to have a thick layer. You want that nice thin layer. And with the thin mint Oreos, I just think that is over the last 5 years, that has become my absolute favorite Oreo. It's so bad to the point where now when I go to the market, I won't buy it because I tend to eat the entire family size pack in a day.
Yeah.
I do not buy it now. Like you will not see them in my apartment anymore because I'm scared to buy it because I've bought like at the biggest I've ever been, which is like 160 pounds. It was because I was eating an entire container of Thin Mint Oreos in a day.
That's crazy. So once again, I don't think I've ever had the mint Oreo ones, but cookies in general. Like if I buy a thing of fucking Chips Ahoy chewy cookies or just regular Chips Ahoy, I fucking love Chips Ahoy. Like I grew up with it, and all like the blue bag, the red bag, the brown bag. I fucking love those goddamn cookies.
Same.
And I can eat a whole thing of them in a day, easy.
I like Mike and Ike's too.
You can keep that.
Really?
Yeah, you can keep it.
I like the regular box of Mike and Ike's. For some reason, every time I tried the flavor that was not the base box, it just tasted awful. But base Mike and Ike's are really good to me. Like
so I do like the sour ones, but I like sour anything.
Yeah, it sounds like
you take take like I like the sour Mike and Ike's. Any of the like sour Skittles. I fuck with sour Skittles. Like I don't like Skittles, but I like sour Skittles.
Okay, I have a story, or more so a question. I don't know like how you guys grew up, but I grew up in the hood, and Pop Rocks were a really like famous, candy in the hood. Like people like. All right, Dom, you gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta head out.
All right, we're gonna let Dom go. Thank you so much for hopping on this episode. We're gonna continue out. We're only gonna go a little bit longer, but thank you so much, and we will have you back. If you want to give a shout out to anything, you by all means you can.
Shout out YCS Charlotte. I'll see everybody there this weekend.
All right, good luck there too.
Yeah, whoever goes.
All right,
have a good one. Are you playing? Oh my bad. You got to go.
Yeah, I'm playing.
I'll ask you later.
Yeah, we'll talk.
All right, bet. Appreciate it, man.
All right, see you.
Peace.
So in where I grew up, for some strange reason, there was this story that went around, and it kind of reminds me of the story that kids made up about Sierra, where they just said Sierra had a dick. I don't know why that was a story that was told when we were kids, but that was
everybody knew it. Also, I already know what you're going to say about the Pop Rocks.
For some reason, there was a story that went around in the hood that Pop Rocks and Pepsi killed someone.
Yep.
And there was a period of my life where I was just afraid to ever buy Pop Rocks and Pepsi. And I liked Pepsi as a kid because my grandmother used to drink it a lot. My grandmother loved Pepsi. But I have been so afraid as a child to buy Pop Rocks and Pepsi specifically because they said that somebody bought that, ate it, and they died. And I want to know if anyone else heard that. Like, is that a thing or is that just like a...
Yeah. I've heard. I mean, I don't think it happened, obviously. But yeah.
It's just like a random lie.
I think it's because like, did you ever see the video and like this actually does happen when you put like Mentos in like a bottle of soda?
Yeah, I did see that before.
Like I think, and I haven't tried it, but I'm guessing. Like I don't know what that happens if you eat it. Like I don't know what happens if you eat Mentos and drink Coke. I assume it doesn't explode your stomach the way it does the fucking container. But I think that's like kind of where those rumors came from.
Right. They saw something like the Alka-Seltzer and Seagulls or something.
Yeah.
And they just made up some nonsense. It does kind of give me that vibe. I don't know. I'm not a Pop Rocks person now. I don't really eat, like, that's not a candy that I would ever eat again. I feel like I don't even remember what they really taste like. But
yeah, they were one of those gimmick candies. I was talking about this. I actually was talking about this on the stream like a year ago. That's how you know they're trash. How you know Pop Rocks are trash is nobody ever goes like, "Oh man, like these taste really good." They go, "Oh man, they like make noise in your mouth."
yes,
Like
that,
you know,
yeah,
like
that's the, yeah, it's a gimmick. It's definitely a gimmick.
so same thing with like Rice Krispie cereal. Like nobody ever said Rice Krispie cereal tastes good. The marketing for it is like, oh, when you put milk in it, it snap, crackles, and pops.
Yes,
Like
I know snap, crackle,
the
pop.
cereal makes noise.
That literally is it, because Rice Krispie cereal is not good without a lot of sugar, and at that point, you're just eating sugar.
Yeah.
So I agree. All right, let's wrap this one up. I guess I want to give a shout out to our patrons. We have a couple things, housekeeping as usual. So we got the Patreon has just been growing. I don't know. I guess we're doing something right, but you guys seem to really rock with the IMNerd podcast. So,
and if you want to help it grow, please help it.
Yes, I mean, join it. You get access to our IMNerd podcast Discord server. You get to help us choose topics, especially the extra episode that we do only for Patreon every single month. There's all types of other perks, so check that out, IMNerd podcast on Patreon. And also, a lot of people have been subscribing to the YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has like 170 subscribers now, and honestly, we post like the podcast on that, but recently I started to go live for the first time ever this week, and I was playing some DB, playing Dueling Book, and just like hanging out with Kenny and like my his cousin Stango, who's kind of like one of my, I guess, my mentee in a way. I kind of mentor him in Yu-Gi-Oh because he just started playing in 2020, and he started with Go Format, and now he's playing Edison. So I started doing that. It seems like a lot of people like that type of thing. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, it helps us if you subscribe to us on Spotify and like Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to it. Like click the subscribe button or whatever button will notify you when we drop the episodes. Typically, we do 2 episodes a week. Our schedule is set up where every month we do 2 episodes a week, except there will be 2 Sundays where we don't record for a Monday episode. So that way, essentially, we give 6 episodes regular to everyone, and then the Patreon people get an extra episode. So there's like 7 total for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess let me give a shout out to the actual 30 of you who are on our Patreon right now, which is, just can't believe it's gotten this far. But we got Connie, Austin, Leon, Quest, Garen, Hylian, TCG Automotive, Silver Chronic, Tyree Tinsley, Dimitri Barnes, Alexander Brissett, Vinny Casello, Game Freak Yoshi, Alex Flamer, Gabe Marini, Henri Reynolds, CJ, WK-1, Saul at Dabber's Gaming Cafe, Dan Variable, Dennis Milburn, Joseph Marcello, Scott Page, Red Vines, First to Home, Dalis Fernaris, Tom Watabiki, I almost said Watakivi, Watabiki, shout out to Tom, straight up from the UK, S. Akuma, Mitchell Naus, and this last one, our newest patron, I don't know if I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'm going to say Ipor Arnarson. I don't know. I suck at this. So sorry if I butchered your name, but Ipor is our newest patron. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way, as I always say. And do the things that make you happy. This is the IMNerd podcast, our first of many on food related topics. We're going to be doing this, not back to back, but just randomly whenever we get the inspiration for it, or whenever I compile a list or we come up with something, we'll do one. Like I said, we're going to do one on fast food restaurants. We're going to do one on dessert. We're going to do all types of home cooked meals that we really like soul food and tacos and spaghetti and meatball, whatever.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of that kind of content too, because I just feel like part of being a nerd is also the food that you eat while you're gaming. Like that's just a big part of it. A lot of us survived off of Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts and ramen noodles. So we got to talk about that stuff. I think that's important. That's a big part of nerd culture, is the actual food that goes into it.
I agree.
A lot of dollar menu when I was younger. So
I agree.
All right. Without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good day.
So long, Gay Bowser.
Peace.